Hello YouTube. My name is Harry. This is my channel Future Shock Digital. So in this video I'm going to be reviewing the Samyang 35mm 1.8 and to review it I'm going to be driving from Byron Bay, the furthest most easterly point in Australia, going all the way to the other side of Australia to Perth, the largest city on the west coast. In fact, the only city on the west coast. And I'm only going to take one lens with me. And that lens is this Samyang 35mm 1.8. I'm going to use it for portraits, I'm going to use it for landscape, for everything. And it's going to be heaps of fun. So, my name's Harry, this is my channel, Future Shock Digital. Let's roll. Take 4, here I am in Sydney. Sydney is a very pretty city. Prettier than New York, prettier than London by far. Very gorgeous. However, I still kind of feel like a bit of an alien here, a bit of an outsider. So I kind of maybe wanted to show that with some of these long exposures, creating a mood, a setting slightly different from what you would normally experience. Sydney is most certainly not my home. So today we went to Luna Park. Luna Park is a great theme park. For kids. It's not an intense theme park like Movie World, although there were 2 rides that were pretty scary, including the sledgehammer. It was strange because it was very much an experience of paying money to feel like you're going to die. It wasn't really a safe feeling. But I don't understand the psychology of that, but sure enough we did it, and yeah, it was fun. Okay, so I've been doing some editing on the road and I threw in this shot in the mix of a lighthouse. However, it's not the Byron Bay lighthouse, it's definitely a lighthouse, but that was created with AI. I couldn't actually fly my drone there. There was a no drone policy, although I have seen people fly drones there. I created that using AI, and there are 2 things to notice. One is that it's not actually the Byron Bay lighthouse, so it's inaccurate. 2, did you notice that that was AI? A way to notice would be the little guy who fell off a surfboard there. What on earth was AI thinking? I don't know. I'm here in Port Augusta. You might even be able to see some dolphins coming up every once in a while. So on the lens itself, you have a mode switch, mode 1 and mode 2. Mode 1 is for manual focus, mode 2 is for aperture. For manual focus, you first have to go into the body and set the camera to be on manual focus, so that's a point to note. It's not a hardwired manual focus ring like you'll get in older cameras. It is focused by wire, so that is an extra step. That kind of makes the mode not really that useful. Mode 2 is for the aperture, so you can adjust the exposure on the fly. So videographers would use that more so than photographers to make quick adjustments. It is a welcome thing, however it will take a bit of muscle memory for me to develop that habit. It is very windy. I really hope the audio is coming through. This is a focus breathing test.
So from here, I'm going to go through Iron Knob. I'm not making up the name. It's literally called that, Iron Knob. And then from there, we're going to Ceduna. So in Broken Hill was a bit overcast. So I had to go an hour out of town to shoot this night lapse, the star lapse. And I think it's phenomenal. The amount of stars that I saw there was incredible. However, as I was shooting at 1.8, and you really do need to shoot at 1.8, you do get this heavy vignette. Now that vignette in portraits is not a problem. In video, it's not an issue. However, for astrophotography, that vignette is there and it kind of distracts from the stars. Now, when you're shooting at 1.8, that's totally expected and it's easily fixed. I don't think that's a major issue, but at 1.8, vignette is there. Okay, so right now I am halfway across Australia. I'm at the Big Galah. Australia is famous for its tourist attractions of big things. The first one that opened was the Big Banana. The Big Banana is in Coffs Harbour, as you can see here. This is the Big Galah, which is a nice pretty pink color. My favorite big thing is the Big Potato, which doesn't leave much to the imagination. It is literally just a big brown round potato. So I just had a breakdown, mechanical breakdown first, then a mental breakdown. So at the Big Galah, my car was simply stuck in neutral. No matter how much I changed it, it would just not electronically change into drive. All the mechanics are off today because it's New Year's Day. So I had a bit of an issue. One of the mechanics replied and he says that he would be there come tomorrow. So I would have had to stay under the tree outside the Big Galah. Now luckily I was parked under a tree in a safe area. I could have done it. I wasn't out in the middle of nowhere, so I'm quite fortunate with that. However, I'm on a mission, and after this mission I have another mission coming up, so I can't dilly-dally. I realized I had to ask someone. Maybe there was a mechanic around. I looked around and I said, that guy's a mechanic. He knows. Everyone else, no. So I went up to him and I said, do you know anything about cars? He said, no. But my brother does. My brother's a mechanic. What? So I said so he said, ask him. And his brother was walking towards their car. I said, do you know anything about cars? And he said, yeah. And they helped. Now, these two brothers, they were from Zimbabwe, and I'm from South Africa. So they were sort of, we sort of neighbors, and they were so helpful. And then he opened up the console, and he saw that one little bolt had fallen out. One tiny little bolt that connected to the thing to change the gear. He fixed it with a cable tie. I drove from Kimber all the way to Ceduna, held up by one cable tie. And you know what? It works perfectly, just fine. There's absolutely no issues there. But these guys, they did it because, you know what? They said it themselves. They want to do a good deed for the day because they believe what goes around comes around. And I also believe that. So to confess, I'm starting to get a good lock on my face for the autofocus. I'm just pressing the autofocus button here in the hope that it locks me on every once in a while. So I'm right now in Ceduna, South Australia. This entire area is just wheat fields, and this is where Australia exports its wheat for markets around the world. Now this lens itself is from South Korea. So once upon a time, European companies dominated the world of lens manufacturing, and then the Japanese took over. And it's been like that since the 80s. But something that has changed now is that now we see that the South Koreans and the Chinese are emerging. Samyang also makes lenses under the Rokinon brand, and Rokinon, I think it's a better name. It sounds a little bit more Japanese. So the question is there any risk by using a lesser known brand? I absolutely think there's no risk whatsoever. Zeiss, again, in my last video I spoke about the Zeiss 55mm lens. That lens itself, it wasn't even made in Germany. It was made in Japan. Zeiss designed it and then get the Japanese to make it, or get Sony to make it. So that's the way the world works now. I think the Samyang lens is absolutely risk-free. Today I'm crossing the Nullarbor. Nullarbor means no trees in the local indigenous language. So no trees. I've got no focus when I'm vlogging. So I've been doing a bit of editing on the road, going through the footage on the road, and I've noticed that when I'm shooting handheld, say holding the camera a meter away from my face, the autofocus is not picking up on my face, and it's trying to pick up on the background. I have shot a lot of stuff, and I'm still going to use that footage. I'm not going to refilm it, and even though it's going to drift out of focus, even when it's at f20 or f18, I'm still going to use it. just because this video itself is a lens review. So it's not a perfect movie, perfect film. It's a lens review, so I can have those errors. Okay, so I'm here in Eucla Cliffs. Honestly, I think whether you had a 35mm lens or a 20mm lens or an 85mm lens, I don't think any of them can do justice for a location like this than a drone. Look at that. If they used a wide lens, I'll probably get too much foreground, too much cliffs, not enough of the actual ocean, because I can't get close enough to it, otherwise I'll fall off. If I used a zoom lens, it would sort of isolate it and it wouldn't show the grandeur of the location. But with the drone, you really just get the shot. So I think the main point here is not about a drone, it's more about using the right tools for the right job. So I've just finished the 90-mile straight, Australia's longest straight road. I'm not going to rush off to my destination because there's lightning and thunder on the horizon there. So I'm going to take a quick break and do a time lapse of this sign. So last night I tried to do some night lapses. There were a few issues here and there. Firstly, we had this memorial here. The big crucifix was lit up the whole night. So that ate up a huge portion of the stars. And using the app Photo Pills, I determined that the Milky Way will be coming up on that section. And that section is where that memorial was. So I couldn't get a great shot of the tail of the Milky Way. We also had a lot of light coming in. We had someone walking past. She wanted to get a shot of the aurora that was apparently available at that night. So light was just shining here and there, and I couldn't get a good shot of the stars. I didn't really want to go bundu bashing or bushwhacking and put my tripod in the middle of nowhere because it was getting late. I lost 2 hours from time zone shifts, so I needed to get some sleep ASAP. But it's incredible how much one little light affects the entire night sky, making it difficult to get any stars.
One more night to go.
Okay, so on this trip I've seen a lot of the big things, the big galah, the big banana, and now I get to see the big camera. I didn't even know this was there. This is a camera museum, a photography museum. It looks pretty cool. So I arrived in Perth yesterday, and just to make it a final coast-to-coast video, I came here to Cottesloe Beach. I'm having to use a little mini tripod in order to get a better autofocus on me. Coast to coast, it's been a fantastic trip. The lens did totally fine. It seemed that everything worked perfectly at the end of the day. Goodness gracious, it is so windy. I have no clue how much sound is going to come out of this. But thank you very much for watching, and we'll see what the next video has in store for me here in Perth. Can we just look at that? Look at that. Beautiful. See you around.